I did want to ask you about a player that's in New Orleans that I think is going to get moved, and that is Brandon Ingram. Do you think he would be a realistic target for the Pistons to go after?
On paper, I mean, all right, well, let me preface this first.
Mhm.
You're talking to a big Brandon Ingram fan.
Same here.
I obviously know his limitations as a player, but I just I enjoy watching Brandon Ingram play basketball. Do I think he would? Sam Vecini doesn't think that Ingram is a good fit next to Cade. I don't agree, but I understand why that could be the case. I think he physically fits the type of archetype that they need. I think he's an underrated playmaker. The shooting, he's a good shooter, but it comes and goes. I think he's a good defender too, a solid defender. It depends on how much you're going to have to pay him. He's still young. If I can get him for just the number 5 pick, I personally would. If I had to throw in a little bit more or something else, and they can throw in something else too, I think one I would do it because I do think this team needs to try to get better sooner rather than later, and Ingram does do that. And 2, Ingram's young. What are the you'll have him under team control for 4 years, 5 years, 4 years. I don't know what are the odds you do better than that in free agency than a 26-year-old, 27, 28-year-old who's, I think Ingram's only 26, right? Do you have his age in front of you?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up in 2 seconds.
Maybe he's 27.
Yeah, I think he's only on he's got 1 year left on his deal, and then you probably just give him he's 26, so you can kind of give him that 4 years max, whatever. So it's probably around 200 million, but hey.
Yeah. I mean, I like Ingram. I would strongly consider it, but I also understand if you don't think he helps move the needle enough and you tie yourself up, then you got to pay Cade soon. I understand it if you want to maybe try to hold off, but if you don't have to give up much to get him, I would really, really consider it. Now, the other question is, it's been very clear, or at least up to now, that I'm not sure that the Pelicans are willing to give him the extension he's looking for. And that was the case prior to Trajan arriving. Is Trajan one of those people? That's a question we don't know, right? So
yeah,
that's it's tough to say without knowing that. But certainly, if you're asking me personally, I think if the Pistons wanted to get Ingram, I think they could find a way. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, one of my buddies is on the beat for the Pelicans, and he's like, yeah, it'd probably take Ivy Duren in the 5th. I was like, yeah, that's way too much. That's
I
way
wouldn't
too
do
much.
all 3. I've heard Pelicans people say, I think one deal floated out there was Duren in 5 for Ingram in 21. Which, I mean, that's a dealer's choice, right? If you believe, you obviously have the fear of what Duren could become, and what that number 5 pick could become. But I think that's far more fair in value than 5 Duren and Ivy. I wouldn't give up all that.
Yeah, that'd be highway robbery if that happened, honestly.
Yeah, for a guy had 1 year left on his deal, no.
I think he's a player that a lot of Pistons fans think is going to come here because Trajan was in New Orleans. But like you said, maybe he wasn't the biggest fan of Ingram. Maybe he doesn't want to bring him to Detroit. Wants to get players that maybe he values a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. It's clear that there was some type of holdup, and it's apparent that they're shopping him. They wouldn't be shopping him if they were interested in paying him, and maybe that's all smoke and they ended up paying him. But you have to ask yourself, well, this has been a conversation prior to Trajan signing with the Pistons, so you have to then therefore wonder, is he one of the ones that doesn't really have interest in paying Ingram that significant amount of money?